Take one.
How do you feel now? How do you feel now?
How do you feel now? How do you feel now?
I will always remember that day. I was in the 6th grade. On my way to school, I looked up, the sky was gray. Michael was a quiet kid, some even called him shy. He never gave anyone problems, I can't figure out why. He would always get bullied and shoved to school. But this kid named Nate, I guess he thought it was cool. Nobody ever seemed to ever do anything about it, cause Michael never told or ran and never pouted. But one day I heard the school bell ring. Michael sat behind me, I turned around in my seat. His seat was empty, the loudspeaker came on, a sad voice spoke, informing Michael was gone. My little buddy had hung himself at home the night before. Before he left, he put a note inside the dresser drawer. It wasn't folded by his mother when she was holding his brother. Tears soaked into the ink of the words he left. No one could ever have predicted such a tragedy. His mom screamed out, "Oh God, how can this happen to me?" The intercom turned off and I looked at Nate. The principal walked in and he looked irate. He grabbed Nate by the arm and drug him out of the door. I saw the teacher's tears as they were hitting the floor. I never found out what he said inside the letter he left. His parents moved away 2 weeks after his death.
I will always remember that day. I woke up thinking things would go off without a hitch in a normal way. Michael was a quiet kid, some would even say he was shy. I never even noticed he got picked on by all the other guys. Seemed so successful in his day-to-day life, just a regular old kid, earning his stripes. Went to school, got good grades, girls thought he was nice. Little did I know this sort of depression comes from inside. Remember it like it was yesterday as I rolled out of bed. We carpooled to school and little was said, and I will never forget the last time that he walked by. His cowlick bounced up and down as if to say bye. Fast forward a few hours to me holding his mom's as she cursed at the sky. "Why is my son gone?" You see, an hour before, Michael hung himself in his own closet. No one seen the warning signs, I guess he didn't get the acknowledgement. Some said it was an accident, he did it to get high. Cut off the circulation to your head and bye-bye. Sick and tired, he said he can't take this. So he went into his closet and hung himself naked.
A couple years had passed, I was now in the 8th grade. No more wet sheets from the tears that Nate made. I had a newfound respect for the noose around Michael's neck. I spent the last few years steaming under a waist set. I moved into a trailer park and started at a new school. That's where I met Calvin, a bully with an attitude. Calvin had a couple of friends that liked to pick up smaller kids. They did the same things that Nate always did. But then one day, picking on this kid named George, I didn't want beef, but I decided to step forward. I told them I finally had enough, and if they didn't stop the shit, that it was gonna get rough. A teacher walked through the door and they all laughed it off. Little did the motherfuckers know I wasn't backing off. The shit cooled down and class was about to begin. Tremors in my hand were causing shakes in my pen. After class I leave the room and get a tap in my back. Walking through these halls with a big fist pack, I turn around quick at the hips, and to my surprise, it's little George standing with the look in his eyes.
He said, "I hate those guys, I just wish they were gone."
I said, "Me and you were like this from this day on, and I can't always be there, but I will do my best. As long as there's a heart that pumps in my chest." A few weeks later, it was right before school. I didn't walk to class with George like I normally do. I sit down and see little George run by the window, Calvin on his tail, set to prevail. I throw down my bags, drop my coat and haul ass. Say sorry to the teacher, but fuck this hall pass. I run as fast as I can, and by the time I caught up, they had him in the corner, his face was socked up. Georgie hit the ground, and before I could turn around, my mind was set and my eyes saw red.
A couple years had passed, I was now in the 9th grade. No more wet sheets from the tears that Nate made. It was right before school, there was some breakfast on the table. I grabbed a glass of juice, sat down and opened the paper. There was a picture of someone that I went to school with. I think he was someone my little brother was cool with. Started reading the article that followed the title. It said in bold letters, "Teenage Psycho, Tragedy Strikes on a Little Town in Clark County." It's a miracle that this little article even found me. A 14-year-old boy who was defending a friend took it too far and 3 boys' lives would end. A teardrop rolled and I put the paper down. I went into my room without making a sound. You see, this young man who stood up to these 3 young menaces now lives his young life with 3 life sentences. 5 mothers crying over 5 sons they miss. 3 bullies dead all because of 2 bloody fists. I open up my box and pull out my brother's tear-soaked letter. I don't know why, it made me feel better. My whole life I could have had someone to scrap with. Instead I'm left with pictures and no one to adapt with. I realize I'm sitting inside this room by myself. I dig a little deeper, find my brother's belt. Another teardrop soaked into the letter he left. And at the bottom I write, P.S. Mom, I love you, but no regrets. And no longer is there a heart that pumps in my chest. Sick and tired, I say I can't take this. So I went into my closet and hung myself naked.
How do you feel